Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And this is going to be a short tutorial, and I'm going to be teaching you how to use data stores to save players' data. So make sure to like and subscribe if this helps you out and you support me. So to do this, we are going to use a service called DataStoreService. Okay, what DataStoreService is going to help us with is it's going to save the data when the player leaves the game and load that data that was saved back into the player when they rejoin the game. So to get the data store service, we're going to say local data store service equals game get service. Get service is getting a service within the game. It could be the server script service, the server storage. I'm going to have data store service, for example, okay? And by the way, not all services are visible in the Explorer, such as the data store service. But now to create a data store, we're going to say local data store, okay? Equals data store service. And to create a new data store, we're going to use something called get data store. Whenever you're using get order data store or get data store or get global data store, you're creating a new data store. So now in these parentheses but quotation marks, and in these quotation marks is going to be the name of the data store. I'm going to name it money data store, okay? And now we're going to have something optional, but starting money. So what this is going to do is I'm going to set it to 10. New players start with 10 money. This is totally optional. If you don't want your new players to have any money to start out with, don't do this variable, or you can set the value to 0. But now we're going to say local amount of players equals 0. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we're going to make a function that will run when a player joins the game. To do this, we're going to say game.players.playerAdded, so it's detecting when a player joins the game. And now we're going to say :connect, so it's connecting into a function, and in these parentheses it's going to be the player, okay? Dropline and Roblox should provide this end for us. And now we're going to say amount of players equals amount of players plus 1. So when when a player joins the game, the amount of players value is going to be added by 1, okay? So now we're going to create a folder stored inside the player called leader stats. So we're going to say local leader stats equals instance.new, and then a folder, okay? And leader stats dot name equals leader stats. Very important. Leader stats have to be spelled as shown, or it won't work properly. Okay, so now the leader stats.parent will be set to the player, okay? Now we're going to have a currency inside the leader stats. I'll show inside the leaderboard called money. So we're going to say local money equals instance.new. It's going to be an int value. It's going to have a value inside of it. It's going to store the money, okay? So now money.name equals money. By the way, it doesn't have to be money. You can name it whatever you want, as you desire. It could be dollars, it could be cash, whatever. And the parent for the money is going to be the leader stats. Okay, so now that we've done enough coding, if we come into a test server right here, so what we are going to do is just wait for it to load. Inside here in the leaderboard, we have something called money, and we have 0 of it. If I want more of it, I can come to the players and come to BloxDenn, and we have this folder called leader stats, which we created by scripting. And inside it is something called money. I can set it to 100, and watch my money as I press enter. It says 100. Okay, so now if we leave the game and rejoin the game, which I'm not gonna do, you'll notice that I have 0 money. My data did not save. So we're going to start saving your own data. So I'm gonna make a comment saying organized saving data. Okay, so what we're going to do is make a variable that stores the data from the data store. So we're going to say local saved data. We're not going to set it to anything. If you have these blue lines under it, it does not matter. Those will disappear soon. Now we're going to have a pcall function. This will save the data when if an error does occur. So we're going to say pcall function. We don't need anything in those parentheses. Now we're going to say saved data equals datastore datastore colon get async. Datasync is a function that will stop the code, stop Lua until there's a result and when it's ready to be returned. And now we're going to have something called a key that will be inside the player. We're going to say player.userID. The reason we're using the user ID is so that every player has their own key. 2 players don't have the same key. Only 1 player has 1 key. Minus money. Okay, so your key will look something like this. Your ID, and then money. It'll look something like that. And now that's actually the end of the pcall function. We're going to check if saved data has something inside of it. So we're going to say if saved data, then, so it's saying if saved data is not equal to nil, then. So if it's equal to nil, then the player, there's no data inside. But we're going to say player has saved data, and we need to load their data in. So to do this, we're going to say money.value equals saved data. But I'm going to replace this n down here with an else. Player, actually, it's a new player. New players don't have any data. So now we're going to say money dot value equals default. Did I create that variable? No, default. Sorry, starting money. I was going to say default money instead of starting money. If you're going to be the one of the people who doesn't have new players start with money, just set this to 0 instead of starting money. And that's the end of this player added function. So now what we are going to do is create a new function that will run when a player leaves the game. So to do this, we're going to say game.players player removing. Why was I just being dumb? And we're going to connect it into a function. Okay, and the parameter inside this parentheses is going to be the player once again. Drop line, and Roblox will add the end provided for us. So now what we are going to do is say another pcall function. Okay, pcall function, and parentheses, we do not need anything, and we're going to use the key again, but instead of saying get async, we're going to use set async. So saved data, let me make sure that everything's looking right. No, okay, so datastore colon set async. Okay, let me actually make sure that it's set async. Okay, so everything's right. So we're going to get the player's key again, player.user_id minus money. Okay, that is comma player.leaderstats.money.value. So what this is doing is saving the data when the player leaves the game. Okay, that's the end of the pcall function. Now we're going to say print saved data. Okay, and now we're going to say amount of players equals amount of players minus 1. And above this player removing function, we're going to say local bindable event, okay, equals instance dot new bindable event, okay. And now we're down here above, below this amount of players thing, we're going to say bindable event colon fire. I will explain what this bindable event is doing later on, but we're going to detect when the game is shutting down. So game colon bind and close function, and we're going to have a while loop in this function. So this function will run when the server is shutting down. Okay. So what we are doing is we're gonna have the while loop. So while amount of players is greater than 0, do the bindable event dot event colon wait. Okay. So the event will wait while there is one or more players. Okay. That I do believe this is the entire script. I recommend doing this in a real server. So I'm going to come on File, publish the Roblox as, and there should be a create new option here. Press create new and press create. But I already published the game, so I'm gonna say publish the Roblox, and it should say published successfully. And I'm going to come to my game that I'm working on. I'm going to refresh the page just to make sure that it's actually updated. And I'm just going to click on the play button. Okay, I'm back. I have to do it in a different place since I've already used that script more than once, so it's kind of confused. So I'm just pasting the script down in here. I'm going to name it currency system, and I'm just going to publish it. Right here. Here's the game. I'm just gonna overwrite it, and I'll see you guys in a real server. Okay, so I'm back. Since I'm a new player, I haven't ever played this game before. I have 10 money. And if I come over here to the console and add money with my own little cheats, game.players.BloxDenn, .leader stats, my E button wasn't working, money value equals 100. So now my money is set to 100. If I leave the game and I refresh the page, so it's kind of a new server, and I click the play button again and wait for it to load, my data should be fully saved if everything is working correctly. And sorry for the PC cooling system. My RTX graphics really do hit it up. But as you can see, my money is set to 100. If I was to set it to 1,000 or something, it would save again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is how you create saving data for your Roblox game. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.